Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books, and I have been covering Disney, Indiana Jones, of course, Marvel, Star Wars, all kinds of things. This does not look good. Finally, and of course this was going to come out anyway. We know that they don't like to have great heroes at Disney. They don't like to have these characters that people can relate to and look up to and emulate and get excited about. They're destroying all of that. So coming from bounding into comics, if you like what Disney did with Luke Skywalker, you're going to love what they do with Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones. James Mangold admits he's maligning Indiana Jones' character, says audiences will have to readjust and retool their brains for this guy. So let's get into this article and just see how bad it is. As bad as you think it is, it's probably that bad. Before we do, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications and give me a thumbs up. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny director James Mangold admitted that what many feared that he, Disney, and Lucasfilm would do to Indiana Jones. They are maligning his character in a similar fashion to how Rian Johnson did it to Luke Skywalker. And of course they're going to do this. They just don't want these characters to exist anymore. Speaking with a Hollywood Reporter, Mangold stated, quote, "We can't hide from where we are in our lives. None of us can. And neither can Indiana Jones." He elaborated, "I want to follow Harrison's own lead and simply deal with it straight on. It's not just a movie about a hero in his twilight years who is called back into action. It's more than just his bones might ache. It's that his soul might ache, or that some of his optimism or sense of fitting into the world might have evaporated." Mangold then justified his decision to malign the character, saying, "The mistake you can make in movies, and we've all seen movies like this, is where someone is of a ripe age, but the entire movie is continuing this charade along with them, and they're not that old. This is a ridiculous explanation. Just because someone ages doesn't mean they would lose their sense of optimism or have their soul ache." It's true. When you have children, and if you do have children, you understand how this is. It's very difficult, but it's an incredible thing. It's impossible to even describe. When you get to know other people and see successes and you have ups and you have downs, it's an incredible life experience to get older as time goes on. And if you're of the right mind, you feel like you're still a teenager anyway. It doesn't make a difference. Certainly someone like Indiana Jones would not act this way, especially after having seen the example of his father act in the complete opposite way. Remember Indiana Jones' father? We met him. Sean Connery was great. Mangold would further reveal he's moving away from the tried and true action-adventure formula that led to the success of the original Indiana Jones trilogy. He said, "The first 3 Indiana Jones movies took place in roughly the same period. They all easily fit with the serialized, theatrical, almost screwball action style of the movies that were being released in the period." Mangold then posited, "The change for Steven Spielberg on Crystal Skull, and for me on this one, is how do you move forward into new decades where the world is no longer seen in such clear demarcations of black and white and good and evil, where the whole concept of raiding tombs and fighting over relics is looked at in a different way. It's not about changing the story, but allowing the character to experience how the world has changed around him." Mangold went on to push the idea that everything is gray now, and somehow in the past it was all black and white, which any historian worth his salt would point out is a complete and ridiculous utter lie. He told the Hollywood Reporter, "And our perception of politics is more gray. Who are we working with? Who are we fighting against? Proxy wars, all of that. It's not as simple as the era around World War II. What happens to a hero built for a black and white world when he finds himself in one that is gray? Well, obviously you're supposed to destroy and eliminate the hero. And the hero has to acknowledge that there's no room for a hero when a tyrannical government can be responsible for everything and all decisions and tell you what your reality is. It's a problem that produces humor, produces contradictions, produces adjustments that this character is going to have to make," Mangold claims. This might be the dumbest thing, Mangold tells the Hollywood Reporter. The world has not become suddenly gray. Morality still exists. Good and evil still exists. They haven't all of a sudden evaporated in less than a century. A character like Indiana Jones would choose the right thing. He would still have a strong moral compass. He would still see things as black and white, as good and evil. He wouldn't buy into the idea that there's somehow a morally gray area, because there isn't. Indiana Jones is a man who came into direct contact with the Ark of the Covenant as well as the Holy Grail. He fully well knows God does indeed exist. Really well said. Definitely make sure you check out more from Bounding into Comics. They have a great take on things. Speaking to the fact that actor Harrison Ford will be de-aged and the opening of the film shows Jones in his glory days, Mangold said, "It reminds the audience of the contrast between a hero in his physical prime and a hero at 70. We're not relying solely on audiences' memory of the previous films. It reminds everyone what he's done, what he's survived, what he's accomplished, Mangold said. But then he knows, by showing him in his most hearty and then finding him at 70 in New York City, it produces for the audience a kind of wonderful whiplash of how they're going to have to readjust and retool their brains for this guy. So the whole storyline is to try to convince the audience, and you can follow this now. Like, let's show a contrast of cool young Indiana Jones doing adventure things, but now let's show him as an old guy who can't be that adventure person anymore, and get you to know that, listen, obviously it's still Harrison Ford, so it's still Indiana Jones. You need to adjust to their new moral gray thinking. This is really disturbed. It's desperate to try to push their ideological agenda stuff. I mean, this is not coming from Doomcock, who I think has been a great source for stories, and I've done videos based on his stories, and I'm really proud to have done them. This is the director who said, oh, we're not ruining the character. This went on again, time and time again, where they said, listen, no, it's going to be great, you're going to love it. So this is what he's admitting they're doing. His past is a live memory for the audience, hanging over a man who is now living with anonymity and in a world that no longer cares or recognizes the things he felt so deeply about. Mangold elaborates. You're left with a multi-layered perception of his character, both what he was and what he is, and how the world is different between the first 20 minutes of the movie. So not only is he maligning Indiana Jones's character, he's going to make sure you know just how much he's maligning the character. It's a rather bold move, and you'll see how it plays out for him. One thing that won't change, at least according to Mangold, is Jones's problem-solving skills. Indy's always looked to find the easy way out of a conflict. He uses his brain to solve a puzzle in the midst of something threatening his life. He's not a character who was built on being a gunslinger or Marvel-style brawny muscle hero. He's always looked for the quickest way out of a situation, and that only increases when you're 70. So his need to find ingenious ways out of a problem increases, the director said. Mangold's confession shouldn't surprise anyone who watched the first Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny trailer. The trailer made a point to show that Indiana Jones was a beaten-down man. A voiceover from John Rhys Davies, Salah tells Jones, I miss the desert, I miss the sea, and I miss waking up every morning wondering what wonderful adventure the new day would bring to us. A defeated Indiana Jones replies, those days have come and gone. So this is how they're trying to destroy Indiana Jones. You know, you could have seen the crystal skull, you would have looked at it and probably said, let me know what you thought of the crystal skull in the comments below. I'm sure you're going to think even less of this. Fans like me of Indiana Jones, we don't regard this. Just because you got Harrison Ford to dress up as Indiana Jones and agree to be in this movie, and you spent $300 million making this piece of garbage, it doesn't mean we're not going to continue to love and remember what we consider to be canon, the real Indiana Jones. And I'm sure you agree with me, and I'd love to see that in the comments below. But yes, it's a total disaster. They're doing everything they can to destroy Indiana Jones. They will not be successful. Additionally, this little bit from Cosmic Book News, MODOK leaks online revealing awful Marvel Ant-Man 3 CGI. Did a video yesterday about the total collapse on the way for Marvel, and it has started. But interestingly, the CGI for Marvel is not what it used to be. How is that possible? Shouldn't things get better and easier over time? Don't they have the technology for this? Also, they do a lot of films and TV shows, but they don't do that many of them. They have enough time and resources to say, hey, let's make sure the special effects on Ant-Man and the Wasp is actually good. And why would they do this? Now, I first saw this and I said, well, that looks pretty terrible. But this is from the Avengers video game. This actually is better than what they have for MODOK in the film. And how do I know? Because here it is. It's from Cosmic Book News. Great little piece. Definitely follow their site as well. This is it. You know, this is what they did. This is their special effects for MODOK. You see that face on the body? Like, you might have probably seen this online. Jack Kirby's version, of course, is much cooler. But, I mean, they have the technology to do better than this. This looks like it's a mock-up. It looks like it's something that was done, you know, sloppily just to give you a concept of it, which if you were going to show a concept like this in a pitch meeting, you wouldn't show it because it doesn't reflect well on the concept. Why they did, I can't express as to why they would do something like this. I have no idea, except to say they just don't want anything to look cool. I just don't understand it. If you have a sense of why they would do this with this character and why even bother having MODOK if you're going to make him look ridiculous like this, love to see your thoughts on MODOK in the comments below. Love to see your thoughts. Are you going to let Disney destroy Indiana Jones, or are you just going to disregard this garbage the same we do with Star Wars. Would love to see what you think. Please be sure you leave those comments, and please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I promise I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.